Welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Schif, Zara.
And we are two Americans living in Sweden, talking about football. Yeah, man, it's that time, bro.
Yeah, it's that SveNFL time.
The boys are back. Week 14 is in the books. Yeah. And if you following our betting journey, I hope you didn't last this week. This is the worst week.
I hope we didn't ruin your Christmas.
I hope we didn't ruin. Remember that time when I said put your rent money?
That's on you.
Money. Yeah, that's on you, man. Hey, that's on you, man. Don't take advice from strangers, okay? Tell your landlord week 15, we're going to make it up, all right? Put next month's rent to week 15. We're going to make it up. Wow, we had a bad week of betting. Happens. But we're going to – it was some good football. I saw one of the best games of the season. That we'll talk about it too. But I saw some amazing football games after my near heart attack of Miami coming very close to getting kicked out of being on the outside looking in, which would have been lovely for the Jets fans to spoil it. But we'll talk about that as it goes. Let's dive right into it, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Thursday night football. I mean, these Thursday night games.
I said this was going to be a nail biter, right? Wasn't that my prediction? This game was going to be a nail biter.
I mean, these Thursday night games have gotten really good in the last couple of years. This year especially. The Lions won 34-31. Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns for the Packers. Jordan Love had a hell of a night, and mostly in the second half. But it all came down to gambling Dan Campbell, who had his Lions rolling the dice every chance he got, bringing home the victory with a last-second walk-off field goal by Jake Bates. Gamble. Lions got off to a hot start, and then, this defense, which is pretty beat up. I mean, they played okay in the first half, but then, LaFleur adjusted. Packers kind of took off in the second half. The Packers did get that interception that we predicted in our parlay. Yes. I think that was the only part of the parlay we hit was Goff throwing a pick.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you play a team like the Lions, who have this ability to spread the ball around, stopping them becomes kind of like an exercise in futility, right? You try to stop Montgomery. The Lions are like, okay, fine, we'll just give it to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Packers double team Amon-Ra St. Brown. Do everything they can to make sure that Laporta doesn't kill him. Lions are like, okay, fine, whatever. We'll throw 2 touchdowns to Tim Patrick. How about that?
Tim Patrick came out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, and the Packers were like, who? And the Lions are like, exactly, Tim Patrick.
That's it.
Remember him? No, I don't remember him. Well, we're going to throw 2 touchdowns to him anyway, so shut the fuck up. And then, of course, you got the 4th down situation where I don't even think I actually don't even think Dan Campbell has analytics people in the building.
I do what I want to do.
No, because I think he already decided I'm just going to go for it every time on 4th down, no matter what. And if I've decided I'm just going to go for it every time, what the fuck do I need analytics people for? You don't want those number crunching nerds in the building if you've already made up your mind what you're going to do, right?
He's giving wedges.
Oh, for sure. The Lions went 4 for 5 on 4th downs in this game, including on the final game-winning drive when they were already in field goal range, right?
5.
They were already in field goal range.
Wow.
And they went for it. I mean, I understand the logic, right? He went for it because, he wanted to end the game with the ball in their hands. He did not want to have to put his defense back on the field.
Yeah.
Obviously where you land depends on, what your football philosophy is. I mean, obviously, if he had not made that fourth down, that would have been a massive mistake. And it is difficult to forget what happened in the playoffs last year. I mean, they lost that playoff game because of this fourth down strategy. So,
good point.
Think what you want about. I personally love Dan Campbell.
Same.
But yeah. I mean, the craziest stat that came out after this game, in the Lions 2 games versus the Packers this year, the Lions went 6 for 7 with 4 touchdowns on fourth downs. That's crazy. That doesn't make.
You know what's gonna happen is it's a copycat league. A lot of coaches gonna be losing their jobs trying to do this shit.
Oh, for sure.
They're gonna be losing their jobs, man. But he's turned into one of the best coaches in the league when we used to laugh at him. But if anything, of coaching, he's got these guys believing, and it's insane.
It really is. I mean,
have you seen his speech, his locker room speech?
Oh, yeah, he's hyped. I love it.
You want to watch it right now?
Sure. Why not? I can watch it again.
We can watch it right now. All right, I'm gonna put it on here for those that are watching it on YouTube, and we're gonna watch it together. Dan Campbell doing Dan Campbell things. I gotta put the volume on. That's always good.
I told you you'd never forget this game. You will never forget this game. We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's a way to step up, man. That's a way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing up there.
Keep throwing up.
Guys, I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's a way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again.
Yo, what's better? You know you got a good coach when he's encouraging you through your vomiting. Like there you go, Skip. Keep throwing. What are you doing? Throwing up? Keep throwing up over there. That's a good throw up. I love this guy, man.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to keep going.
We did it again.
Keep going.
All right? It doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. That's what champions do. This is not happenstance, man. This doesn't just happen. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making. All right? We are all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just stay the course.
Bro,
that's 12, and that's 4 in the division. All right, I got 2 game balls. All right? First one here, 6 receptions. I can't read this first one. I'm going to say 43 yards, 2 tugs. This first one since 2021. Jim Patrick.
I'm hyped. Oh,
yeah. Thank you, guys, man. Thank you for embracing me. It's been a hell of a ride the past 2 years, and I wouldn't want to go on this ride with anybody else but y'all. Appreciate y'all, boys.
I'm believing. I got goosebumps.
All the stats you need is he won the freaking game again. Jake Bates.
Hey, I freaking love you guys, man. Let's get 13 next week.
Hey, you guys are warriors. You're warriors. Good win. Break it down.
Love this dude, man.
You know what? What he said before he hands that ball to Jake Bates.
Only stats you need. Won the fucking game again.
Is like exactly how I feel about like why I think he's the best coach in the NFL. Like, who gives a fucking shit what the stats say? This dude won the fucking game.
He couldn't read the other stats. He's like, I can't read it. I think it's 43 yards, but you're the fucking MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about that shit. We're out here to win games, and we're doing it better than any other team in the NFL.
Oh my God.
Fantastic, man. I saw somebody posted a thing. There's some viral video going around of an NFL fan saying the game we deserve in the Super Bowl is Lions versus Bills. And I'm with him, man. I hate the Bills. Of course, it's a division rivalry. But, like, Bills have the best fans in the league, and the Lions are one of the most tortured fan bases. Bills, too, a tortured fan base. We're going to Super Bowl 4 times and losing every one in a row with a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's like, I wouldn't mind seeing it. And then I wouldn't even. Of course, I would cheer for the Lions because I don't want the Bills to win, but it would still be dope if they won it all.
I'm too cynical to believe that the Super Bowl we deserve is the one we're actually going to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
But it was good, man. They did their thing, and there's a lot of football left out there. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you got to get a tie.
Speaking of football games I never want to see again, let's see if we can plow through the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans.
Was that what was next?
That's the next game on my list.
Yeah. Damn, it was so bad that I didn't even pull it up. I see it here. It's on the list. It's on the docket, but I just definitely did not care. This was shitty.
This is terrible.
A shit bowl brought to you by XLEX.
I mean, there was not a
highlight
touchdown. there was not a touchdown scored until like maybe 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
Titans should be ashamed of themselves.
They should be deeply ashamed of themselves. This should have been a very, very winnable game. Tony Pollard had a nice day.
Yeah.
He looked good. 102 yards rushing.
At home, too. Matt Jones gave you 2 interceptions.
Exactly. How the hell? Honestly.
Will Levis didn't. He didn't throw a pick. It was like, how do you fucking... I don't know.
It must be... I wonder if it's penalties.
I don't know, man. I was trying to watch the highlights. I kept falling asleep. No, it's just bad, man.
It's not really because of penalties. What the fuck happened? I don't know.
Bad football, man.
It's just terrible.
Tom Brady said
there's a lot of bad football from what I watch.
So we could skip it, man.
Oh, please.
They're trash. Both trash teams.
Let's plow right through it and go to, because the next one on my list is game of the week, Jets, Dolphins.
Nah.
There
There was a magical game later, but yeah, this was I didn't want it to be this type of game, but I was trying to remind my brother-in-law, Rob, we were watching, we weren't together, but we were like in the chat as we were watching the game. And I was like, people don't realize the Jets had a shitty season, but there's a good roster underneath all of that other shit. So you can't sleep on these guys, even though it's just mayhem over there. And they almost upset the Dolphins, man. We had to win it in overtime. Shit was crazy. But we did win. And Tua was on one. I just was expecting some type of turnover to lose this game, but Miami never turned it over, so that was good. But Tua and Aaron.
Aaron, where are you?
This is the first game in forever that Rodgers went over 300 yards, and I was like, of course it's on us.
He had some moments in this game where he looked like vintage.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. There was one little corner route into the end zone where he put it on a fucking rope.
Yeah. It seems like the games I've seen of them, it seems like he turns back the clock a few times in the game, but then he's just like, it's almost like when you, like when I go play basketball and I go jump for a rebound and then my hand barely touches the net because I can't jump anymore. You know what I mean? And you're just like, damn, I know what I'm supposed to do, but my body won't do it. You can see that happening to him. But then they were rotating in running backs that were just doing people were stepping up throughout the game that made me feel like it was going to be an upset. And then this was probably the best game that both Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams had together, where they both over 100 yards each, and the patented back shoulder throw almost won it for them. But enough about them, and the Dolphins were looking great. Their offense, at least, because like Rodgers had to play he had to play a very good game in order to keep up, because the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel was in his bag with putting some of these drives together. It was like, ooh, they had them off balance, especially that final drive when they unlocked Jonnu Smith just for overtime.
That was impressive. He goes the entire game without a single catch, and then
Wins
he
the
winds
game.
up looking like the MVP of. He's definitely the MVP of that drive.
Yeah.
He had several catches, and also like the touchdown catch. When you watched it in slow motion, the concentration that he has to possess in order to, run that
Squeeze that
crossing
shit.
route through the secondary, at knowing that he could get his head knocked off at any second, was just really impressive, I thought.
And squeezing that ball like that. It was an all hands catch. And then the catch before that, the first catch of the overtime, the ball gets tipped. And he catches it on the big screenplay after the tip. That's some concentration, man.
Totally.
So he kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a game ball later. To stay focused like that, knowing the ball's not coming your way, and then to just be targeted so much. I thought it was ingenious by McDaniel to call it like that. Call the same play twice, too. That screen. And then bring it back.
That's true.
And then call it again. Man. Yeah, it was dope, man. And Tua was on one. And this was the first. I mentioned the receivers, Adams and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now. Well, both Wilson, both balling.
Yeah.
This was a game where Tyreek, Waddle, Achane, and Smith all contributed, and we haven't seen that all season. So hopefully Miami's going to start putting it together like this, because though it was a scary game, and they came through when it was time. I was hating. It was a rough one as a fan. We were talking about, well, we should have kept Flores. The group chat was rough. But.
Yeah, I mean, for me as a neutral, I thought it was exciting, and I was like, I don't know. I'm one of these people that I have a thing for dolphins. I often, my family knows this, I often refer to dolphins as my spirit animal. I feel like when I'm in the water, I feel like a dolphin. Like I feel like I have dolphin DNA somewhere in my body.
I feel like a rock.
Maybe it's just that in my mind, I feel like I wish I was a dolphin. Maybe that's perhaps more accurate. But yeah, it was great. It was a really fun game to watch. And I mean, just really impressive that that overtime drive where they were just like, nah, let's just fucking end this thing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It was dope.
And the drive to tie it up too. You know what I mean? Like, some of they had at least one fourth down conversion, maybe two.
Yeah, and I couldn't look at any of it. And then they went for that one touchdown. Was on fourth down too towards the end of the game. When I was just like,
so it was two then. Yeah, nails. Loved it.
I was just like looking like, because it was in field goal right there, like the 4-yard line. I was like, kick it, you get the ball back, blah blah blah. But they just got the touchdown. I had to walk out of the room for the field goal to tie it up. Because he had missed the extra point already. I was like, oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but that's enough of that. The Fins win and keep their playoff hopes alive. Jets are officially out of the playoff race. We can scratch them off as a playoff team. So that's nice.
We can move on from, your team, which was very impressive. And we can have a little chat about my team, which was, I said it before we started recording. This game was essentially the Falcons' season in one game, right? We looked great out of the gate. Opening touchdown drive was like, okay, all right. We've been having some troubles lately. Kirk hadn't been playing well, but looked very good. Everybody was cooking. Bijan was cooking. Kirk was connecting to Darnell Mooney, looking really good. And then on the next drive, we actually, I think on the Vikings drive, we had like back-to-back sacks. I was like, what the fuck is going on? All of a sudden, Atlanta's defense is good? Like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Essentially, for the first half of the game, the short version is that we kept pace with the Vikings, blow for blow. It was a tight game. It was, they would score, we would score, they would score, we would score. You come out of the second half, the Vikings score to go up 28-21, and then they kick the ball off. Ray McLeod fumbles the kickoff. Next thing you know,
that's
we're down
not the
by
first time this season, right? Hasn't he fumbled more? Oh.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they're up by 2 touchdowns, and then it all starts to fall apart. In there also you have 2 interceptions by Kirk Cousins. Another week where he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. The noise in the A for Michael Penix is loud right now. really, really,
you gotta
really
be careful
loud.
what you wish for, man.
Sure, but we're in a situation where we started off the season hot.
Yeah.
Cousins has turned into a pumpkin, and this week we have officially, surrendered our lead over the division to the Buccaneers, who won, who we'll get to later.
And you can't not throw a touchdown in a revenge game.
Correct. Yeah. Our secondary is just abysmal. I mean, look, these are 2 very good receivers that the Vikings have.
Yeah.
But when you watch the game, if you watch the tape, the way they covered, there was one Justin Jefferson touchdown where, and I didn't actually get a chance to see the replay, but the guy who was covering him was about 7 or 8 yards to his right, looking like somebody had just put him on skates. Like he all of a sudden just like fell all by himself because he realized that Jefferson had just like juked him out of his fucking cleats. It was just like, what is happening here?
He's the best in the league, though.
You got both Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson with 130 plus yards. Jefferson had 2 touchdowns. Addison had 3. Sam Darnold threw 5 touchdowns in this game. And then of course Aaron Jones got 1. So the Vikings had 6 total touchdowns. I mean, it's just, the Falcons are just falling apart right now.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I went into this feeling like I was not going to even bother sweating the Falcons this week. I was too excited about the Georgia Bulldogs winning the SEC championship that I was just like, whatever. I'm not going to let the Falcons hurt me on Sunday. It's just not going to happen. I refuse. But the Vikings, I mean,
that's 4 in a row.
It's a great football team. Like they really are.
Y'all lost 4 in a row, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
But you got Raiders, Giants, and Panthers in your next 4 games, and then the Commanders. That might be tough. You see what I'm saying? So,
hey, but you might end up. You could win out. We'll get to it in a minute, but the Panthers is not an easy win either. Ask the Eagles how easy it was to play the Panthers. We'll talk about that game soon, but Panthers have gotten a lot better. Yeah, they deserve. Yeah, somebody. I'm not going to put Speck on their names this week, but somebody should.
Well, I'm glad you're not too beat up about it. We got another shitty game came up.
A shit bowl brought to you by Excellence.
We'll get a quickly glance over this that the Saints squeaked by the Giants in a football folly of a game. Remember football follies?
I do remember football follies.
That's how this game was, man. So why Drew Lock threw the ball 49 times? I don't know. led the team in rushing. I don't know, man. What is going on? He was bringing it down and running a lot. It felt like it was like some rookie quarterback shit where they just read it, don't like it, and run. I saw that coming a bit. He was putting his head down and he was trying to get that punchable face punched. And then they lose, and the only way to lose this game is on a missed field goal that was very makeable. So yeah, it was so many missed kicks.
Well, to be fair, I mean, the way they missed that field goal, I don't remember the lineman's name, but man, that was a big human being who managed to jump over.
Because it was like a push and then a jump, right? It was like boom, like just demolished them and then jumped up and blocked it.
It was very impressive the way he got over the line in order to block that. What would have been a game?
Tied again.
He should be the real MVP because this game going to overtime would have been like a crime against humanity, I think, in some way. It needed to end. So I'm glad.
We're going to overtime.
I'm actually kind of glad he ended it, even though it meant the Saints won. I was just like, this cannot go on.
The football guys were like, no.
Like your game, even though, I understand it was nerve-wracking for you, that was a very worthy overtime game. That was exciting. This was not. This game, I guarantee you, if this game went to overtime, it probably would have ended in a tie. Like, that's how bad these teams were.
The Eagles played down to the Panthers level, or did the Panthers play up to the Eagles level? That's the question.
That is a good question, actually. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm looking at the stat line of Jalen Hurts with 108 yards. It feels like a play down game. But Saquon Barkley with 124 yards makes it feel like the Eagles were eagling. So I don't know. I saw some passes by Bryce Young, who was 19 for 34, 191 yards. But he was throwing some. His best pass is the corner route pass. He throws that nice on the rope. I've been rooting for him since I hated on him when he first came in, and I was like, why did they pick somebody? I really, I like to collect assets if you don't have that stud of a guy, and they fucked around and found out with Bryce Young, but now he's coming around. So kudos to him. Kudos for the team sticking with him. Kudos to the coach. What's his name? Canales. Who we thought was just like one of these scapegoats coaches that they were bringing in that's not ready, but nobody wants to coach for them. And he seems to be doing a good job bringing the team around as good as you can with 3-10 record. But
a big part of why the Eagles struggled in this game was because the Panthers' defense has quietly gotten better every week. They managed to sack Jalen Hurts 4 times in this game.
They're all over him.
I don't know. I mean, I like what the Panthers are looking like right now, despite the fact that they're in our division. But, I feel kind of bad for Bryce Young. I think, it's funny. I hate their owner so much that I have empathy for all of their players.
Yeah. I get
you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. But, I was kind of secretly hoping the Panthers would squeak this one out, actually, because I don't know.
You shouldn't say all of your thoughts out loud. There's listeners.
I know. I got the fucking Ken police jumping down my fucking throat every week. Did you just say something nice about a team in our division? I'm like, no, I just
hope they win. You'll never, you might see me say things nice about.
I was actually thinking about it more from the perspective that I have a vested interest, or just like a side interest in the Lions locking up the number 1 seed, and the Eagles are probably the biggest threat to them right now.
Vikings too.
Vikings too. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's another, what do you call it? Not a moral victory for the Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Bryce Young basically is he's starting to look like the franchise quarterback that they drafted, and that I would imagine is partly due to his own development. But I think you're probably correct. It probably has something to do with Dave Canales as well. So
yeah. How do you feel about the most Jameis Winston stat line you could have? 24 for 41, 212 yards, 2 picks, 2 touchdowns. It's like, what else? What more do you want out of Jameis Winston? He's like, I gave you what you wanted.
He was so funny last week. He threw all those interceptions and a couple of pick sixes last week. and he gave this like interview where he talked about how he was asking God to deliver him from pick sixes. It's just like,
and God was like, "Okay, son, I will reduce your pick six to just picks. So next week he's gonna have no picks because God works in mysterious ways."
I think this is good for the Browns, to be honest, because the Browns were never going to go to the playoffs. The worst thing that could happen to the Browns right now is for them to convince themselves that they should keep Jameis Winston, and he would be their quarterback.
What about Deshaun Watson when he's healthy?
Well, they're gonna. He to me is completely. They need to get rid of him. Whatever the financial pain that it's going to create. That's just a reality. They just need to take that one on the chin. I think it's really important for the Browns to realize that they do not have their quarterback in the building currently.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for them. Jameis is who Jameis is going to be. For one, I'm entertained by all of the attention that he gets right now. But I don't forget who he has always been as a player. And I also don't forget some of the things that I feel define him as a person. So I'm not here for this whitewashing of Jameis Winston's narrative. I'm unaffected by that, period.
But how about this as a Rainbow Rush stat line? 15 for 26, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. 5 receivers averaging 10 or more yards.
It's unbelievable.
That's Rainbow Rush right there, man. I'm not going to throw it a lot, but I'm going to throw it up and down the field because that's what I do.
Because he doesn't even, you're right. He doesn't even break 200 yards passing. But it's like, it's these chunk plays where he where he just kills you.
Yeah.
And they did this on a day where they didn't have, my man, former Bulldog George Pickens was out of the game.
Yeah.
But their receivers were, it took a minute for the Steelers to kind of take control of this game. This was kind of a back and forth affair. But then, of course, as you said, Jameis Winston at some point is going to be who he is.
Mm-hmm.
They are who we thought they were.
Steelers are legit. I mean, I was actually kind of rooting for the Browns to win this game, more so for the sake of the Ravens, to be honest. Like, I just think it'd be really that battle between the Ravens and the Steelers. Like, I would love for that to come down to the last game of the season. That would be great.
Oh yeah,
that would be really fun.
Plus,
but
I bet the Ravens to win the division. So
yeah, I'm feeling like. I'm feeling like the Steelers are probably gonna win this division.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
Mm-mm.
Did you see the Bucks beating the Ravens 28-13 coming? The 2-11 now Raiders. Bucks beat the Raiders.
This was a weird game because the Bucks kind of struggled in this game.
I predicted the Raiders would win, and I thought they were going to pull through, but
well, Hayden O'Connell, he was so bad in this game. He was so bad.
104.
I mean, what was
yards.
it like? They got an
Yeah, he threw an interception.
The Raiders picked somebody. Well, the Raiders got an interception off Baker, and then on the very next snap, Hayden O'Connell fumbled the snap, and it's just like, I mean, it was just like a comedy of errors throughout the majority of the game.
That's what happens when you put pirates against each other, man. Pirate on pirate violence is no good. Nobody wins.
Yeah, this was a messy game. I mean, clearly the best team won,
of course,
but it took a minute. And the Raiders' defense played pretty well. They managed to sack Baker Mayfield 4 times, and they picked him off twice. But this was, I mean, shout out to the Bucs for, putting their shit together in the second half because, this would have been a really embarrassing game for them to lose.
I mean, the Raiders haven't they won games they shouldn't have won? They beat who are the 2 teams they beat?
They beat the Ravens.
No, they beat the Ravens, and then they beat. Oh, not the Chiefs, right? Was it the? I forget who they won.
No, I don't think it was the Chiefs.
But I thought it was another good team that they beat, but maybe not.
But I mean, the Raiders are not a real serious football team. You know, Aiden O'Connell at some point got injured in this game, and they had to bring in Desmond Ridder, you know, who played almost as well, to be fair.
They beat the Browns. So with Deshaun Watson.
Aiden O'Connell went 11 for 19. Desmond Ridder went 12 for 18. They basically, like, you know, they also do not have their quarterback in the building.
Or coach.
I have to say.
Or coach.
Yeah, that's probably true. Shout out to this new running back they have, though. What an elite name. Sincere McCormick. Who the fuck names their kid Sincere? That's the first time I've ever heard that. I love it.
Isn't it in the movie? Somebody named Sincere in the movie?
Is it? I feel like that's the first time I've ever heard it.
Furious. Maybe that it's in Boys in the Hood. I've heard the name Sincere before, but I'm from the hood. It's the hood of Hollywood where you get the weird names. Apple Paltrow. Speaking of weird names, I don't know. Zach Charbonnet was balling.
I love his name.
I love that name. Yeah, Charbonnet is dope. Man, he ran away from those defenders on that one of his touchdown runs, where he just got faster and faster, and the defense just got further and further behind, even though he was like tied up with him at first, and he just ran away from him. I thought that was dope, and the Seahawks did what they were supposed to do.
They really did, and they look good doing it too.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I had this feeling. This is another bet that we fucked up, mostly because of me. I don't know. I just had this feeling that the Cardinals were gonna show up in this game, and you know, it doesn't help that Kyler Murray threw 2 interceptions.
One was he might as well have handed it off to the defender.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, guys, I got one for you. Like, he's got to stop. It seems like when he rolls and then tries to throw across the body, it never works.
Yeah. Yeah, it really didn't work. I mean, because everything else worked just fine. You know, James Conner was doing what he does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think, I don't know. The Cardinals are a hard team to figure out. You know, one week it's like, man, hey, it is sneaky good. And then the next week it's like, maybe not so much. Yeah, I mean,
Geno has solidified himself as like it's not a joke anymore, man.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a legit
I think
starting quarterback.
And now you got the Seahawks, who obviously, I mean, nobody would have predicted they'd be in first place in this division. That's for sure.
No, but there's one team in that division to watch out for that are on the rise.
It's true.
These motherfucking Rams. It seems like if there was a 20-game season, then because it seems like they're getting their steam right now, but they might just have too many losses. They're 7-6 now after beating Buffalo. Who saw that coming?
Not me.
And I mentioned Dolphins and the Jets weren't game of the week. I think because this was the game of the week. This game was insane. I woke up like I had dozed off on the couch, and then I woke up and I just played this game back. For some reason, I was just like, let me just see what happens with this game. And I have my little technique to get through the game fast with the 30 seconds forward button, and then, blah, blah, blah. So I could watch the game quickly, my own version of the 40-minute game. And it was fantastic. I watched every play of this game. These guys were balling. It was insane. Some of this, man. If you see some of the stats between the two, it was like defenses were playing well. That was the crazy part. They were there. They were in position. It was good defensive play calling, but it was just execution by the offenses that were making it a fantastic game that ended. It was like, and Buffalo was behind. It felt like they were behind the whole game, just trying to work their way back in, being down by a couple scores. And then the last quarter was just they exploded and tried to make it happen, but the Rams did what they had to do, pulling ahead.
Really impressive victory. You know, one of the things that pops out for me is that, on one level, it's a good thing that your quarterback can lead your team in rushing with 82 yards. But ultimately, that's a sign of weakness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
When your actual
Gotta
running
do
back
everything,
only
yeah.
when your actual running back only has 20 yards,
Yeah.
you're clearly chasing this game.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
Yeah, they couldn't get a stop, man. It was just like Matthew Stafford was just balling his ass off. That's what it came down to. Sean McVay was balling his ass off. Like he was calling this game. It was great. It was a great game to watch. If y'all haven't seen it, I recommend this the one game to go back and watch the 40-minute thing to see all of the plays in it. It was just fun all the way through. As I'm rooting for the Rams, of course, because I hate the Bills, it's just fun. And then you were probably the next game, you were hating on the 49ers, and they just mollywopped the Bears.
Again, I will reiterate, I've said this before, I don't dislike the 49ers at all. I really don't.
You picked the Bears to win this game, by the way.
I did. I believed in the coach fired bump.
That was last week. They won already off of that. The bump is 1 week.
I thought this was the first week that he was technically the coach.
It was last week, wasn't it?
No, they got the coordinator bump. They fired the coordinator. Thomas Brown takes over, and they won. Did they win that game? I think they won that game.
They lost to the Lions.
Yeah, but this week was the first week he was Thomas Brown was the head coach.
They haven't won in a while now that I see it.
It's been a minute.
Damn, Bears.
I think that I think they're asking Caleb Williams to do too much.
Yes.
Also, I think the 49ers are, look, things have not gone well for the 49ers this year, but they are like a perfect example of one of these weird zombie teams that's just going to like spoil somebody's opportunity to go to the playoffs. Not the Bears, of course. They're not going to the playoffs, but we're late in the season. There's only about 4 games left. The 49ers could technically still make it. It's tight in the NFC West.
It's gonna be crazy. We got to play them down the stretch. That's the last good team we got to play. Oof.
But they're gonna go. If they go down, they're going down swinging. There's just too many good players on this football team.
Yeah.
For them to be this bad. Or you know what? There's too many good players on this team for them to have this kind of record.
Exactly.
Really, is what it is.
Yeah.
They obviously had to slot in Isaac Guerrero as their running back, who had a really nice day.
It's another notch on the belt of it's another Shanahan where they just take some guy you never heard of and then he's just balling. 2 touchdowns, 78 yards on 15 carries. And then I never heard of Patrick Taylor Jr. either. And he was running the ball. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Juwan Jennings had a day, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, man.
He looked good.
Kittle exploded.
For me, one of the biggest concerns and one of the biggest differences between last year's 49ers and this year's 49ers is the performance of Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
He just has really not been a factor in this offense for the majority of the year. And I don't know, he's had some health issues. Maybe, I have a feeling he's just not himself. And, we saw the splits last year, the games, that stretch where they lost like 3 games in a row last year were all games where Deebo Samuel did not play.
Yeah.
I think he is quietly the straw that stirs the drink, to be honest with you.
Brock Purdy looked good.
Sure. Yeah. He looked fine.
Looking good, man. Like,
very
especially
efficient.
with them having that guy Allen last week. Purdy just moving around and making good throws, man.
He was very efficient. This game was never in doubt.
Yeah.
I went to bed at halftime. I saw the chat when I woke up this morning, people in there joking about Shanahan blowing a lead, but I was like, even I went to bed thinking that wasn't going to happen, because you watched the game and there was nothing in the way the Bears were playing that made me feel like they were capable of winning this game.
What is it about Caleb Williams that with the sacks, man?
Honestly, I think I really do think that it's arrogance. I think he has a type of arrogance that he has carried with him from the college game. You know, you know as well as anyone, there is a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think he's on the wrong side of it, to be honest.
Yeah. And I'm aware of it because I'm on the wrong side of it as well.
Yeah, clearly. That was like a sneaky backhanded insult. Unintended.
No, I didn't take it like that.
No, but I say it because, like, you and I work in similar industries.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. It's something you encounter frequently in the entertainment industry, people who are on the wrong side of confidence and arrogance.
Yeah. You know what we can be arrogant about and confident about is that the Chiefs are not going to ever cover.
I told you.
Hey, yeah, you said it. That's one of the best we got right, that the Chiefs beat the Chargers, who I thought were going to win the game and could have won the game. But the Chiefs did squeak by the Chargers 19-17, which just shows that Chargers defense is legit, man. And next year they might. Herbert looked good too, man. He was like he was making some nice throws and doing what he had to do. And but the Chiefs end up with the ball at the end, kick that field goal to win the game. That hit the upright and bounced through. Because I was like, oh, he missed it. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, shit. And I just had to look at the mascot because I couldn't tell. And the mascot was doing this little shaky thing. And I was like, okay, so they won.
How many one-score games in a row is this for the Chiefs? It was like 15 or 16 or something. It's crazy.
Is it really?
It's a lot.
The Bills beat them by 9. So that's...
No, but I mean, as far as I think there's
victory.
some crazy stat out there about their
victories,
like all of their last like over 10 for sure victories have been one-score games.
No,
I think
it
it's
was
somewhere.
the 49ers. They beat them by 10.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but since then it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Same score this game as the Raiders. 19-17. Maybe that's their division setup.
big problem for the Chargers here is they really miss J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Ever since he's gone on to injured reserve, they just don't have a very credible run game at all. And you want to have that balance, Herbert's playing well, but you want to be able to run it down their throats too. And, it's just not, I don't know. Chargers are interesting. I'm happy for them. They're at least a year away. Should probably draft a running back
Yeah.
or get one in free agency or something, because also the defense, I wouldn't expect this defense to be this good next year. I mean, they have some old players. They have some old players.
They have the coach they need, bro.
But I mean, they're going to have to rotate out some players because
they'll do it.
Yeah,
all right. I wouldn't worry. If I was a Chargers fan, you're in good hands, man. Until he pisses everybody off and gets run out of town, your team's going to be good.
Now, you have at least 4 years left before his antics start to become annoying,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was it. This is we're doing this earlier this week, so we'll be back to talk about the Monday game later in the week. So that was the last game. Wow. Start looking at playoff stuff, man. It's coming. We're gonna
totally
breaking it down soon.
We should in the next episode. We should cover the Monday night game, and then look through look through the standings because, we got teams that are officially eliminated now.
Yeah.
The teams that are on the bubble, to be honest, have a very slim chance of making it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was looking
The
at that.
playoff race is not going to be quite as dramatic this year, I think. But you do have some drama in the divisions still that are worth talking about.
It's looking like my team has to win out in order to have a chance, and I don't see them winning out. I don't know. It's just you lose and then people are going to be questioning like, would they, if Tua didn't have these the history with the concussions, would they have pulled the trigger on an IR and make him miss so many games? Like if it was his first concussion, maybe they wouldn't have been so careful. Does that change things? So many questions, but
it's true.
Yeah. Well, they did it, and there's games like that. Colts lost. It's gonna haunt them.
Definitely.
Stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah. So 6-7 is my team, and in the AFC it might get you in, but it feels like the NFC is just a better conference this year, man. When's the last time that happened?
What's that NFC North, man? All those teams are chasing the Lions. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're staying in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You got some superlatives to go through? Oh yeah, I meant to ask you, how do you feel about Raheem Morris? We're 3/4 of the way through the season. Are you feeling like? I'm
fine. I'm not a big fan of people who get too reactionary in year one of a coach's tenure. He's obviously, he's got a lot to learn. But I'm more concerned about our quarterback situation and perhaps our offense. I've been pretty unimpressed with our offensive coordinator. So we'll see. I'm not ready to jump down Raheem Morris's throat just yet.
Okay. I got 3 listeners I want to shout out as we I was going through the Pigskin Pick'em that we do on ESPN. And we had 3 people that nailed every game last week.
That's crazy.
We had DT, friend of mine, who nailed them all. Another friend of mine, Stefan, he nailed them all. And then a guy named Mikael, who nailed them all last week. This week, nobody hit every game. There were 13 games. The best was 10. Some people hit 10. So shout out to Connie and Christopher and Victor, who got 10 games called right.
Nice work, boys.
Yeah, nice work. Yeah. All right. You got any MVP? Should I do mine first?
I can go.
All right.
I think it's got to be Sam Darnold and all of his Minnesota Vikings welcoming their old boyfriend back to town and showing him exactly what he walked away from. Darnold goes 22 for 28, 347, 5 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 73 yards and a touchdown. Jefferson, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Addison, 3 touchdowns and 133 yards. Don't forget, the Vikings were supposed to be the worst team in the NFC North before the season started, but they have been nipping at the Lions' heels all year and could still win this division, which is pretty impressive. I would like to give an honorable mention to my man, former Bulldog Brock Bowers. On a shit team, has somehow managed to break the rookie tight end reception record, passing Sam Laporta, who broke the record last year. Oh, and he still leads not just all rookies, but all players in the NFL in receptions this year, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, they got nobody else to throw it to, and he's still doing it.
I know.
Hey, teams, take him away.
You the real MVP.
My real MVP is Skip's man, former Bulldog, Matthew Stafford.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. I have always liked and respected Matthew Stafford as a good player that puts up numbers or whatnot. Does what he's got to do. shows up in big moments and all that jazz. But this year, I have fallen in love with Matthew Stafford's game. He's tough as nails, stands in there taking hits, putting the ball on the money. He's had his main receivers hurt most of the year, but he just keeps on trucking and not giving a fucking, and his team gets a chance to win every week. This week was a little different. This time he was up against Josh Allen, who seems to have been unfucking locked since being paired with his football soulmate, offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Now you have dangerous dual threat Allen with fewer bonehead errors. It's a nightmare that most opposing quarterbacks can't keep up with, but not Mr. Stafford. Matthew pulled that staff out and showed how fucking big it is in his head-to-head, pun intended, matchup with Josh Allen. This was easily game of the week, and both quarterbacks played awesome. But Matthew pulled out the victory with a cleaner performance, throwing beautiful passes with pressure in his face, clean pockets, on the run, falling down, you name it. It was glorious. He was 23 of 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. All right, you know what? I can't do this, Schif. I have to put my hate aside. Stafford was great this game.
Yeah.
They won the game because of him. But he wasn't even the MVP in this game. The MVP was Josh Allen in a loss. This man was insane. He put the team on his shoulders, almost pulled out a victory in an instant classic that only perfect play calling and quarterback execution would allow because the defenses were there. He threw one screen pass between blockers to get the ball there in time. The improvisation was incredible, as always. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground and 3 in the air. The man was literally responsible for 42 points this game.
Wow.
McVay happened to call a pristine game that was able to overshadow a monster performance by Mr. Fool's Gold himself. He was straight up real gold today because this game, with pretty much any other quarterback in the league, would have been a blowout. So Josh Fool's Gold Allen for week 14.
You the real MVP.
Wow, that was hard.
That was really hard. Oh, man. My trash for the week is the kickers in the Giants and Saints shit bowl. It was disgusting. They're just getting shit blocked. It was like so fitting of a conclusion to a shitty game that saved us from overtime, as you said earlier, when the fat guy was lifted up by God and blocked the kick of and while on the other side, that kicker missed 2 kicks in his own right. Should have had the game out of reach anyway. Oh, man, this was just a trash game with trash kickers. All I can say.
You are trash!
What you
got? My trash goes to the man who, in the last 4 games, has thrown 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. My guy, Kirk Cousins.
Man, you've been throwing trash at your team a lot the last 3 weeks.
Kirk Cousins is unraveling before our very eyes. 15 total interceptions on the year. I could excuse the picks when we were winning in the early part of the season, but considering the 0 touchdowns, in the words of the great Marshawn Lynch, just ain't gonna want that.
They just not gonna want that.
I'm afraid that we are at that familiar place where it's time to see what the backup is made of. I'm certain that it could get worse, but at this point, I don't really care. I'm ready. Sorry, Kirko. Time to take off the chains, have a seat, because you're trash.
You are trash!
You got a shit got learned? Did you learn anything on Sunday?
I did. I have a rather interesting one.
Well, let me do mine first then in that case. Because mine, I mean, I've had this thought in the back of my head, but I've always, and in the past, 30 years, I've thought the game is too long. That's the one thing people complain about. They think it just nothing's happening, blah, 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 people who don't know football. And one thing that extends the game is reviews, play reviews and whatnot. But there's one thing I would add, despite it making the game a little longer. Pass interference needs to be a reviewable penalty. It's too impactful of a play to just swing a game on a bad call. I think it should go to New York and be one of these quick. In college, it seems like they're quickly reviewing these things, right? Not pass interference, but when they review, it doesn't seem like that long of a process when they send it up and figure it out and then make the call. And I feel like they need to bring that speed to reviews, and you can quickly find out if it was pass interference or not. But this is getting insane, man. Yesterday, for the first time, during the Dolphins-Jets game, I saw a dual pass interference call. They said offense and defense interfered, reset the play. What the fuck? What are we doing, man? What are we doing? And all these type of things only happen to the Dolphins. It feels like every fan base probably feels that way too. But it was very annoying. It seemed like something they could have reviewed, and they would have seen that either the offensive player committed the penalty or the defensive player committed the penalty. But to reset, do it over, it was just like, what are we doing here? That's too impactful of a play to swing a game so much. So just add this to the reviewable plays and take a commercial away maybe.
Ugh.
Play a commercial during the review. I don't know. If you really need to make this money, do the little Geico box and play your fucking commercial and get your cash while we figure out how to make the game better. What you got?
It's interesting that you brought up commercials because my shit that I got learned somehow connected to that.
Okay.
Involuntary discombobulation, lost sense of smell, suicidal and homicidal thoughts, sleep eating, sleep cooking, driving while sleeping, blue urine, and compulsive behavior.
What do you get rid
Much
of?
like the bizarre side effects from the well-advertised American pharmaceutical products, this is how I feel when I am forced to watch games such as Titans versus Jags and Saints versus Giants. These two games in particular made me feel like I had been drugged without my consent. There are so many bad teams this year that it's got me genuinely concerned for the poor rookie class that is waiting to be drafted this year. And I'm starting to wonder, there's an idea that's going around, this idea that at least the two worst teams in the league should have to play each other to earn the first pick in the draft.
I
kind of like
the
this.
winner gets it?
Yeah.
I like it.
I kind of like this. I would actually expand it to the 4 worst teams.
Like a tournament.
A mini tournament that's kind of like, you do this in the NBA, right? You have this little play-in tournament for the playoffs. Like, I think they should have a play-in style tournament to decide who gets the number 1 overall pick.
I like it.
I think it's the closest thing we could get to, like, it's not relegation, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a battle amongst bad teams at the end of the year to see who gets the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but we just saw this Giants Saints game. You want to see some shit like that at the end of the year during Pro Bowl week? During Pro Bowl week, you have the tournament. That'd be great.
I think it'd be dope. I want to see it. Or
maybe after the Super Bowl.
No, nobody will watch it. Do it in the week.
So make it where nobody watches you fucking struggle except for your fans.
I think you should do it in the week off.
But you can't have 2 games. You can't play because if it's 4 teams, that's 2
I know,
games.
but if it's only 2, you could.
Yeah.
If it's only 2, you could do it the week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I like it. I like it. I think they should relegate. Especially now, the NCAA seems to be headed for maybe the SEC breaking off and shit like that. if all of these things happen and it turns into like a semi-pro league type of thing, you get relegated to the NCAA. Or like a team like Alabama can get brought up to the NFL.
Oh, God. That would be crazy.
Imagine some shit like that. All right, man. This is fun. We got.
You got some. I got some Speck.
Some Speck. I got Speck too. I could do mine.
Okay.
Some Speck. I got to put some Speck on Sam Darnold. He finally got an opportunity. Finally got an opportunity. And now he's showing why he was such a high pick in the draft. The man was fucking balling, going 22 for 28, 347 yards, and 5 tutties over your beloved Falcons. Vikings are looking scarier than ever with Darnold at the helm. We laughed at him. We laughed at them as a team and their confidence in him at the beginning of the season when they were saying that he's going to be good. But he's proven to be a baller. The Vikings were supposed to be that team that held teams to low scores while they hoped to eke out a victory. But now they're running teams out of the stadium with 40 burgers. We're on notice as Sam Darnold is out here saying,
Put some respect on my name.
Nice. Yeah, that's well-deserved. I'm going to go with Lions receiver Tim Patrick. Formerly with the Broncos.
Yeah.
He came into the NFL as an undrafted free agent with the Ravens. They let him go. 49ers picked him up on waivers. They let him go. Signed by the Broncos, let go, then brought back. August 2022, he has torn ACL in practice. 2023, he fucked something else up. I forget what it was. Also, a season lost. It was in July. Season lost in the offseason again. Broncos decided to cut him. This man has not caught a touchdown pass in 3 years.
Wow.
Shows up on Thursday Night Football and reminded everyone he ain't done yet.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football. Plays the role of the star on a team loaded with superstars. He's been doubted his entire career, but this week, we got to put some Speck on this man's name.
Yeah.
Put some respect on my name.
All right, who's your scariest AFC team? This was hard for me, man.
It is tough. It's got to be the Steelers.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say either the Steelers or the Ravens. Because Buffalo they're scary because of Josh Allen, but you also feel like they're beatable because of Josh Allen. Of only having, it seems like Josh Allen having to do so much. So that just takes it away, and they just lost. I don't know, man. I had Buffalo down, and then I thought about the Steelers and the Ravens. But I think I'm going to go Steelers as well. NFC, I feel like it's still the Lions, but the Eagles are very nipping at the heels of the Lions. Eagles feel more complete.
I would say very confidently it's the Lions.
Yeah.
After that, are you kidding me? After that Dan Campbell speech, I'm afraid to say anything else.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, shit, he just came in the studio. He scares me now.
I've got controlled fury, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out here congratulating people for the way that they vomit.
What are you doing over there?
Good job.
Good job, man.
Good job on that
Throw that up.
Throw up some more.
You throwing up over there? All right. Bengals Cowboys, the last game. We do have a Monday night parlay out there that could save our weekend of bets. So you can check it out on Patreon. We got our bets out there that we did, and just the image of the bets. So hopefully people were like, and didn't do it. But you can go look at that Monday night parlay, see if you want to do that, and get your money back if you've listened to our other shit. Whoa, that's a horn. And when you hear that horn, you know what that means. You've either just heard something spectacular or you're about to hear something fantastic. Thank y'all for checking out this episode of SveNFL. We'll be back to talk about the Monday night game and to preview next week's games. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip me, Sarah.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.